Welcome in. Today we are going to have a lot more fun because we have returning Miss Deana Martin. What can I say to you? Talented, musical, incomparable. How's that for an intro?
Oh, I love
Deana,
it.
welcome back.
Thank you. It's great to be back with you. You look
You know what?
fabulous.
I'm amazed at you. You're I just saw your 200th weekly live show. How do you keep it up for 200 weeks?
I don't know. I think it's all because of the fans. I mean, I just can't not do it. But it's so amazing now. All the comments and they're because it's live, and so it's going all over all over the world. In fact, on Tuesday, I guess I know my last one on 202, I'm talking to people in Germany. They're communicate, they, and Rosario gets it, and she'll ask me a question, and and then I answer the people in Germany or South Africa or the Netherlands. It's absolutely amazing to me.
It really is. I mean, and like your dad, you've mentioned this on the show before because you've had some flubs. We all do. I just did. But you keep them in. I mean, obviously it's live, but your dad was always one to say, I just keep in all the flubs. It makes it more fun.
Oh yeah, absolutely. He didn't like to rehearse. He said, just keep it. It's okay. It's fine. We all make mistakes. It's okay. And
Yeah.
that's what people are loving about my show also, because it is live. And on Friday's show, John started the music, and I messed up the first words. I said, "Oh no, okay, let's start over again." And people, so people in Sydney, Australia, Chris and Colin, they send and say, "Okay, it's okay, Deana. We love that you make mistakes."
We do. It's fun. I mean, and you tell jokes, and at the end, we'll tell everybody how they can watch you weekly. But last time you were here, we mentioned a few stories that we didn't get to, and we're going to get to them today.
Okay.
Because you were on the Monkey Show.
Yes.
And you had a relationship with Davy Jones. Can you go into that? How you met him? How this all happened? How long you were together? All this other anything you can tell us about Davy Jones?
Well, Davy Jones and the Monkees. What I met him on the set of the Monkees. Okay, my agent Jack Gilardi. They said, I guess he was sent the script, and it was called "Some Like It Lukewarm." It was a takeoff on "Some Like It Hot." Remember when I think it was Tony Curtis and Jack Lemmon? They dressed up as women, and it was "Some Like It Hot." So this was "Some Like It Lukewarm" because the whole idea of the show was it was the battle of the bands. And I had a girls band and Davey had his boys band, but we couldn't be on the show together because you needed one boy in the girls band and they needed one girl in the boys band. So I dressed up like a boy. So I and was in our girls bands, and I was dressed up as a boy, and Davey dressed up as a girl. So we had on long hair for his thing. So after the battle of the bands, and I'm trying to remember who won the battle of the bands. We might have been tied or something. And after, I went to a restaurant, Italian restaurant, and Davey went to the Italian restaurant, and we're sitting there, and we're looking at each other, and all of a sudden, because I said, "Oh, it's you." He said, "Yes, it's you." And we had big stars in our eyes on the Monkees show. And they were real stars because I just fell for him that day. I mean, we were almost like the same size. And it was it was so fun. And so we started dating. And I remember the first time he came over to the house, which was great. And in those days you wore let me say, hip huggers and bell bottom pants. And so they wore, he wore bell bottoms, and, he was, small, but we all wanted to go outside at my house at 601 Mountain Drive. I had 6 brothers and sisters to play football. And so he had to take off his boots, and then, his pants were too long. And so he had to roll them up, and we're all playing football out in the backyard in Beverly Hills. And dad was, he was there, my dad was there playing football with us. And he and Davey got along great because they had like the same sense of humor. They were both cool, although Davey was English, and dad loved his accent, but it was funny the way they got along. And I just adored Davey. He was a doll. He was so nice and kind, and we went out for a long time, but we remained friends through the whole up until the very last. In fact, I think the last time he performed, I showed up at his show, and it was at the Al-Qaeda in Chicago, and he didn't know I was going to be there. And he's up singing, and all of a sudden the screen comes down, and there's he heard my music. Everybody loves somebody, and I sang. I walked out on the stage, and the crowd went nuts, and I sang "Everybody Loves Somebody Sometime" to him, and he was just, I got chills just now just thinking about it. And he sang to me. The last song he sang to me was, "Once I had a secret love that
Oh
lived
my gosh.
within the heart of me," and I'm standing there on stage with Davy Jones. He's singing "Secret Love" to me, and the audience was absolutely out of their minds. It was so wonderful. And I remember going back into the dressing room, and and my husband's there and everything, and Davy liked blue M&Ms. And so he had a whole dish of blue M&Ms. I'd never even heard of that before. I said, some people have a bottle of wine in their dressing room. You have a blue M&M. It was so cute. And we remained friends with him forever until the last. Just a great.
Was your husband John ever jealous?
No, he loved Davy because it was John and I've been together 33 years, and it was absolutely love at first sight for us. We met on a blind date on Valentine's Day.
That's a great story. You can go ahead and tell that one.
It's coming up. Well, I didn't want to go. My sister Gail called me. She said, I need you to come out with me tonight. I want you to meet someone. I said, Gail, I don't want to meet anyone. I'm good. It's Valentine's Day. I said, I don't want to have a blind date on Valentine's Day. She said, please, it's so important for me, because this man is, doing business with my husband, and I just really need for you to be there. So I said, okay. I said, do you want me to be businesslike? Do you want to, sexy like? What do you think? She said, oh, go sexy kind of. It's okay. And those were in the days of big hair,
Yeah.
And so I wore a white leather mini skirt, very high heels, a little bustier, and a red jacket. So I was, Valentine's Day.
Sexy Valentine.
Sexy Valentine Day. And, and John walked in. My sister kicked me under the table. She said, he's gorgeous. And he came over, he sat down. We ordered the same things. It was amazing. My sister had put his briefcase in my car, because we were in the Valley at that time, but I lived in Beverly Hills. John was staying in Beverly Hills at a hotel. And so I ended up driving him home. And he said, I think we should spend the rest of our lives together. And a year later, we were married.
That is, every time you tell that, I love that story.
On Valentine's Day, a blind date, and
Yes.
his picture just came up. I have a Google thing of pictures, but he's fantastic.
He's gorgeous. I mean,
Yeah,
obviously, your handsome husband, John. Yes,
I
I said so. But another story that you mentioned that you wanted to speak about this time was your pasta.
Pasta.
Yeah, this pasta story. I don't even know that one. So go ahead, tell me.
You don't know the pasta visual? Oh my gosh. Well, growing up on Sunday nights, my grandmother Angela, who I was named after, I'm Deana Angela. And one day I was over at her house, and she taught me how to make pasta visual, because it was my dad's favorite. She said, Deana, and I think I was 9, 10 years old. She said, Deana, I don't want you to write this down. I want you to remember this recipe. And when one day when I'm gone, I want you to make it for your dad, and it'll be a connection between you and me and your dad. I said, okay, because I knew he loved the pasta visual. So she showed me how to make it, and I remembered it. It was amazing. She said, can't write it down. Don't tell your sisters. Your sisters can't know about this. This is for you. So, okay. So now my grandmother passes away, and it's Christmas, and I'm trying to think, what am I going to get from my dad? Another V-neck sweater, another silver frame, with a picture of me and the family. And then it came to me, the pasta visual. So I went to the store. I remembered all the ingredients. I came home, I made it, and I put it in a ball mason jar with Romano cheese on the side, grated, took it over to his house on Christmas. He opened the door, and I'm holding this with a red ribbon around it. And I said, Merry Christmas. He looks at it. Francine, the look in his eye when he said, is this what I think it is? I said, yeah, it's the pasta visual. And he goes, and it's still warm. I said, I know. So we went in, we had some, and he called me a week later and he said, Deana, this is your father. I said, Dad, I know your voice. He said, and I was so excited, I got chills again. And he said, do you think you can make that pasta visual for me again? He's happy. So I made it for him like every week for the rest of his life.
Oh,
And I put the recipe in the back of my book. And so finally,
yes, it is in there. Yeah, I did not know that story though about, yeah, that's.
Oh yeah, and and she said, "Don't tell your sisters, don't tell anyone. It's secret. The secret ingredient." Ah, cinnamon.
Cool. That's really something that you share with your dad.
Oh yeah,
Just the two of you.
Yeah. I would take it over to his house, all the time, and it just made him feel so good, that, and it was exactly like my grandmother made it. So he was thrilled.
How sweet.
Yeah.
That was very, very nice of your grandmother to make that bridge between you and your dad.
Exactly, and that I would remember it.
Mhm.
That's, but she said, now watch, you're putting in the olive oil right now, then you chop up, the onion, put that in. And so the whole thing, and I just remember, being at her house in Inglewood,
Mhm.
how many years ago? That was a long time ago, but I'll never forget that time. There's some memories, and I have it in my book, Memories Are Made of This. And that's one of my, greatest, happiest memories, doing
Right.
that.
Right. Well, when people think of Dean Martin and your family, they always combine it with Frank Sinatra and his family. You guys were very close. Are you, I mean,
Oh,
were you
yeah.
basically inseparable as a group when you were younger?
Well, we weren't inseparable. Tina and I went to school together at Marymount, and Gail and let me see, Claudia and Nancy were the same age. Frankie and Gail were the same age. But I sang with Frankie. We were all friends. We didn't hang out together. I would see Tina a lot. That was because we went to school together. And I just spoke to Nancy yesterday, as I was telling her, I'm going to sing These Boots Are Made for Walking on the show next Friday or something. And she said, oh, I love it when you do that. So it's great. And she wants to know. And we keep in touch all the time. And in fact, I've got to call Tina today. But, we had so much fun growing up. Imagine you got Frank Sinatra and Dean Martin. And, and here we are. It was just amazing. Uncle Frank and Uncle Sammy Davis Jr. It was quite a life.
Yeah, that's putting it mildly. You've had an exciting life.
Yeah.
The so-called summit in Las Vegas where they were filming Ocean's 11.
Oh.
Were you there at all during the time?
Not when they were doing Ocean's 11. I was always, I went to Las Vegas a lot, at the Sands Hotel, but I wasn't there when they were filming that movie. What year was that? I can't remember what year.
Oh golly,
I'd have to ask, Lady A.
I don't remember.
I don't remember, but Uncle Frank was fantastic. But one of my favorite memories of Frank Sinatra and Sammy Davis Jr., of course, but when we were doing, it was the Christmas special with the Martins and the Sinatras, when they did the Dean Martin show, the Christmas show. And Tina and I did a song with Dad and Uncle Frank. And, Frankie Jr. and Dino did a song together. And, so it was really fun. But I remember saying to my Uncle Frank, I said, how do you get that great tone? How do you sing? He said, oh, Deana, he said, it's great. He says, I take in a big breath, I push from the diaphragm, and I can tell even before a note comes out if I'm going to be on key or not. I said, really? Does my dad do that? He said, no, your father has no idea what he's doing. He just does it. He's a natural.
And he did it so well. Oh my God.
Yeah, he was great. What a gorgeous voice.
I think I told you the story of when I was with Shirley MacLaine, how we were commiserating over our love for your father.
Oh yeah. Some came running and what movie? Oh, God, they did a lot of movies together.
Yeah.
She was amazing.
She really had a crush on him.
I know she did. Yeah, she did. And who didn't?
I have so many stories here. We don't have that much time to get to, but there was a really scary time when Frank Sinatra Jr. was kidnapped. How did your dad handle that with you guys? Did he sit you down and say, hey, this is what's going on? Or how did that come about?
We had heard about it, but we always had a security guard at our house because we're in a mountain drive in Beverly Hills, and we had not a circular driveway. It was half moon, but people could just drive right up. There's no gates or anything like that. So we had a security guard, and the movie star buses would go by and stop. And I remember one time, actually, it was funny. My brother Ricky, he was selling canned goods from our pantry when the bus would come by. So here's some of Dean Martin's corn. Ricky was, fabulous. We would have a lot of fun, but we did have a security guard. And so when this happened, Dad said, now, we don't open the door, for anyone, and make sure we know what we're doing when we're going. But it was a very scary time, to think that he had been kidnapped.
Right.
And yeah. So, and of course I was, talking to Tina all the time and Nancy. So it was a scary time, but we made sure that we stayed safe.
Right. Well, it's so different from the times today when everybody needs 20 security guards at their house. I mean, it's crazy with the fans that are out there today. But let's get back to your dad, and he was playing football with yeah, but he's also, before his big music career, he was a croupier. And did he ever I sat down with my dad and we played cards a lot. Did your dad play cards with you and teach you things?
Oh yeah. Well, he had these huge, massive hands, and he could shuffle. I mean, he could do everything. He would do card tricks, but we would play hearts, at home, so, we had a nice little table, and we would play hearts, and he would play gin, and, and show us card tricks and things. Yeah. Because he was amazing with cards. I mean, he knew cards, and I think he was a dealer, and he would go in, he'd be doing a show in Las Vegas, and you would see him dealing at the blackjack table, or wherever he was. He would stop, he would, play a few hands, and then he would, deal. People were going, I think that's Dean Martin. He's a dealer. And then he'd go to his show. Dad was amazing and just so easy, and people loved him. He would talk to, everyone. He was just a good guy.
Yeah, and you mentioned before that Elvis said he was the king of cool, and that's exactly the best way to describe him.
Yeah, that's true. And we saw Elvis many times in Vegas, but that one time and he was making a movie at Paramount when my dad was. That's when I went to see him, and that's when we met him. And when he told me, he said, they call me the king of rock and roll, but your dad is the king of cool. And there I am, picture with me and Elvis and my sisters. Quite an amazing life, that we've had. And because I've never heard anything that was, negative about my dad. He was nice to everyone. They said, if we saw him on the street, we would be respectful, but we know that he wouldn't get mad at us if we went up and said, hi, Mr. Martin, and that's the way he was. He just was, he taught us, he said, treat people the way you want to be treated. And, that's how, and we watched him treat people the way he wanted to be treated. He could be in the kitchen at a restaurant, having fun with the the sous chefs or something, and then walk out and he'd be sitting with Frank Sinatra. He could dine with kings and queens and have just as much fun with the chefs and the waiters in the back room, and he would have a great time. And he just loved being he liked being alone. He loved being alone and being quiet. There's sometimes I'd go out to dinner with him. I'd meet him at La Familia, and he'd be sitting there, by himself. He'd love to be alone. He'd like to be around people. He just didn't want to chit chat. I said, Dad, can I sit here and have dinner with you? He said, yes. He said, but no chit chat. So, it was cute. He said, I don't mind the chit. It's the chat, because he was talking so much all the time, and people always coming up to him, and he just didn't want to have to think he was saving his voice, because talking is not one of the best things to do if you're a singer. But he liked to be around people. He just didn't want them to come over and talk to him. No, he was great. So.
Oh, I wish I would have known him. I really do. Let's talk about you now. Your weekly show is amazing. I don't know how you have the stamina to do that every week. Your fans are all waiting for your next CD, album, whatever you call it these days. Are you working on anything like that?
Yes, John is working on that. We're going to do it because, during this past 4 years that we've been doing the Deana Martin live show, I've done probably 200 new songs for me. I never recorded Gentle on My Mind, or there's a lot of songs I never recorded. And Rick Creevy, my music director, John and I will think of a song and then we'll say, oh, I want to do that. I think what we're going to do next week is I can't get used to losing you no matter what I try to do. So we send that to Rick Creevy. He's in Boca Raton, and he will figure out a key for us. Then he'll do a piano thing, send it back to me, and I go, oh yeah, the key is good. And then we'll, and I'll learn it, and then he'll put on background vocals, and we'll get my sax player Eddie Mena to put a sax on it, and then we do it on the show. We do it right behind me here, and it's amazing. So there's over 100 new songs that we're going to be recording, because we already have the arrangements that are done, and so it won't be probably with a big band, like all my other ones, all my other albums. But so we're thinking that, I don't know, do we keep it down to a quintet, or do we do the big arrangements? But some of the songs don't lend themselves to the big ones. Gentle on My Mind doesn't have to be a big, massive orchestra. So we are working that out right now, and hopefully we'll get to do it soon. I'm just trying to figure out when we'll have.
That would be great. I putting in a request that you do another duet with your dad.
Oh, that I would love to do. I would love to do that, because it's, true love is so amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Be able to go out on stage and have that video and to sing with him is quite something. It's hard to get through it sometimes, but I said, John, I may start to cry. He said, that's okay. He said, do it. It's okay. You guys know that I can't sing, but it's so amazing to be able to sing with him, and so we will. Hopefully, we'll do that on one of the next albums.
That would be wonderful. Okay, now the way you guys put your show together, to me, is still unbelievable, because it comes off every week. Absolutely amazing, and people can watch it on deanamartin.com.
Yes,
every Friday you come up with a new one. How do you do that? I don't know, but you do a great job.
Yeah, it's hard, but it's my job. It's what we do, and John is amazing, and Rosario, getting it all together. Mm-hmm. It's tough, because it's just the three of us, and Rick Creevy and Eddie Mena on sexy sax.
But, yeah, from afar, they're working from afar.
Yeah,
but I have to give you. I don't take this the wrong way. This is definitely a compliment. I've gone back and seen some of your earlier shows and your recent show, especially 200. You just keep getting better and better.
Right?
Some people kind of wear out, or you get a little tired of them, but we don't with you, and you're getting better.
Thank you very much. In fact, John will say the same thing. And it's easier to sing, we're doing it all the time. Well, and it does help to be doing it every week. Mm-hmm. Right. And so when I go away to do a show, which is kind of tough to be away, because this is every Friday that we're doing this. So, if I have to go someplace to do a show on a Saturday night or a Friday night, and I do it before, but I've only done that twice. But it's when you're singing more and trying, to do this and learning new songs, I think, I sing better. It's amazing. One of my good friends is Steve Tyrell. And Steve Tyrell, he sings all the time. And same thing with Bob Anderson, who is a really good singer. Bob sings every day, and it's about keeping the voice going. But
if you don't use it, you lose it, right?
Yeah. Use it or lose it. Yeah. So it's good, and it's a lot of fun doing these shows. And as I say, so the new song for next week is can't get over losing you. I think that's the one it is. And then Magic Moments are going to be in 2 weeks. So we have to pick the songs out, and Rick has to write the arrangements, and we just keep on keeping on.
Sounds like fun. And for all the viewers, you can tune in to deanamartin.com on your computer.
Yeah.
Or on YouTube.
Yeah.
YouTube.
deanamartin.com. It's pretty amazing to be able to do that. And you remember we were doing it on an iPhone on a tripod when we started. And that was
you switched now.
I got a camera.
You come of age now, you've got a camera, but I sincerely appreciate you coming back on, and I'd love to have you back around Christmas time. We can talk about Christmas with the Martins, and possibly Sinatra Christmases together. That would be fun.
Okay, it was fun. Rosario's here.
It is. My timer's off, and so I just want to say to the fans, check out her weekly show. It's fabulous. And for Deana, thank you so much. I appreciate you coming back, and we will have you back again soon.
Francine, thank you so much. You're always fun to be with. Thank you.
You are too. We'll see you in person one of these days, hopefully very soon.
I hope so. Yes, I think we'll make that work.
We will. Okay. Well, for the fans, thank you. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
With over 30 years of experience in real estate and the mortgage industry, Darlene Mays provides knowledge and expert guidance to clients looking to buy or sell a home. Serving clients throughout South Orange County, Darlene specializes in the senior community of Laguna Woods Village. Darlene works with her clients to ensure the highest level of service, from the beginning of the process right down to the closing table. If you are looking to buy or sell, who you work with really does matter. Call Darlene Mays today.